So welcome back to the next part of the lecture. So next topic is discrete data and continuous data. Discrete is the term that is for the values which have nothing in between. Continuous is when the curve is continuous. Discrete events have it can just occur randomly. Continuous events, for instance, the heights. Okay, the heights are continuous: height, weight, age, the time taken to complete an event, then the temperature. So these are all continuous kind of values. This is height, weight, age, temperature, then time. This is continuous data, but in discrete what we have, discrete is the kind of categorical sometimes. Okay, like is the tank full or empty? The continuous can be the capacity of the tank, height, is it tall or small? So there is nothing between tall and small. Okay, if I can say very tall, tall, medium, small, very small, 5 categories, but these are discrete. The categorical variable is discrete. Okay, about weight I can say overweight, then adequate weight, then moderately weighted, adequately underweighted, then underweight. These 5 categories I can divide it into 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever number I like, these discrete events. There is also the big study on discrete event simulation, and talk about the events and variables in the probability distribution. Discrete event simulation, when the events are discrete, there is no not specific time, it can come at any point of time like randomly. So for that also simulation concepts are there. So for the discrete and continuous data, discrete data takes only a particular value. There may be potentially be an infinite number of those values, but in the distinct bins I could say. There is no gray area in between, there is no connection between the two events or two values here in the discrete. In continuous they are connected. So discrete data can be numeric, like okay, discrete data examples, if not categorical, I can say the number of apples, the number of products those are produced by the factory, okay, in a specific number, in a whole day. Okay, not in whole day, just number of products. Okay, then number of defects in welding, in the specific welding, total number of defects in the final product, okay, total number of customers who are rejecting the product. These are the numbers. Okay, these are discrete numbers. We cannot connect between customer number 5 and customer number 4 who has rejected that. This is the discrete information. Discrete means there are some intervals or spaces between the values. In continuous data, the data falls on a continuous sequence. There is a continuous run or sequence. So if I say the nature of the values for the discrete and continuous data, the continuous data values can be measured, but the discrete values cannot be measured. However, we can count the discrete value, the number of events, the discrete events, those are there. We can count them, but we cannot exactly measure them. So these are, if I say the nature, this can be counted, this can be measured, and these are mutually inclusive. These are mutually exclusive. So, the overlapping or mutual exclusive classification such as the intervals like between 1 to 2, between 2 to 3, that is done for continuous data. These are mutually exclusive. I can say between this thing between 2 to 4. So, this can be done for the continuous data, but this is opposed to, this is something contrary to the non-overlapping of the mutually inclusive classification. Like the classification in discrete data could be, because we cannot overlap them, we can just say okay, I will put the numbers like 1 to 1.9, then 2.0 to 2.9, then 3.0 to 3.9. So, these are mutually inclusive discrete data, the continuous data is mutually exclusive. So, the graph or the plot for the discrete data is generally the bar graph, okay, and for the continuous data it is generally the histogram. I can say the plot using bar graph. This is plot using histogram. You know, this is data visualization. Data visualization is the science in statistics in which the graphical representation of data is done. There are certain ways, you know what are bar graphs, what are histograms, what are pie charts, and what are fan charts. These are actually a little complex one. Then we have certain other ways like line graphs, scatter diagram. Data visualization is also important. Which kind of data is there, what is the nature of the data, how could we best represent the data into a graph. There are actually 3D graphs also available using certain softwares in computers. We can also draw the 3D graphs as well, but like limited to 3 dimensions only. Sometimes there are multiple dimensions, and that we have to draw the separate 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional graphs for that. So, this is also important. You know, when you do the measurements, you just do some calculations and you have to represent the report finally. Okay, this is acceptable or this is not acceptable, or what should be the final action that is to be taken, what is the final decision, or what conclusion have we drawn from that. For that, it is important to draw the data properly. I will talk about data visualization in the forthcoming lectures as well. We have to properly plot the data as well that is best suited to our results. It is said that one figure is equivalent to 1,000 words. You write thousands of hundreds of words, you write a thousand number of words, but you represent one figure showing various graphs. Okay, this is one caliper is behaving like this, another company one caliper is giving this reading. You just show the graph, various bar charts or various lines in them, so which is selected, you use colors for them. That would talk everything. The first thing when you read a research paper, I think what I do after reading the abstract, the first thing I do is I look at the figures, if they are possible, figures and tables. Okay, these illustrations are very important. So, just talking about the important plotting here. For discrete, it is the bar graph is used. For the continuous data, histogram is used. I will tell you how do we use number of histograms to draw a normal curve, to draw a continuous curve. Okay. Then there is the range between the highest and the lowest point. Okay. If the range is there, what kind of line is drawn, that is in the discrete data also sometimes the range is there, in continuous data that is also there. So, the major difference between the discrete and continuous data is that in discrete data we have the spaces in between, there is no connection between the two lines, there are certain lines, there is no connection between two lines. Okay. We cannot draw, if there are 2 or 3 lines like this, we cannot connect them if there are lines like this in discrete data. Okay. And in continuous data also, if I am having some values like this, it is not sensible to connect them like this. this is not recommended. Yes, in continuous data, if the values are there, those can be connected. Why it is not sensible? Can you think of in the discrete data why we cannot connect, or why it is not recommended to connect here? Because the space in between this space, the blue line, this does not mean anything. If I point something here, if I say this is point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, there is nothing known as point 1.5. This does not exist. The spaces have no meaning in discrete data. In continuous data, yes, if there are certain points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and if I am having a point here, if this is a length, okay, if this is a length, let me say 2 centimeter, 3 centimeter, 4 centimeter, 1 centimeter, 5 centimeter and again 4 centimeter, these are the lengths here, okay, let me say 2, this is the value here, I will put centimeters, okay, this value is 2, actually this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 written, okay, I will change the color, in the blue color is actually the nominal scale, this is just the number of the reading, that number, not the count, but the name of the reading, reading 1, reading 2, reading 3, reading 4 and 5 and 7 in the blue color. Now, I picked another color, this is, I will pick purple color, this is actually the value 2 centimeters, 3 centimeters, 4 centimeters, 1 centimeter, 5 centimeter and maybe this is again 4 centimeters. Okay. These are counts in discrete data 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 actually the written in blue are only the ordinal data. Now, in purple color I will write the count, this is number of pieces. Number of pieces maybe this I call it 2, 4, 2, 4, 1, 3 and 3. So, there is nothing called as piece, number of pieces is 1.5. Can I have 1.5 number of customers? Can I have 1.67 number of customer, whatever that is? I can even have one customer or two customers. Okay, I can even have one worker or two workers. So, there is nothing in between, that is why we do not connect these. So, that is why this just bar graph is used. Okay. Here the histograms are used because histogram is actually connected to each other. If I draw them as a histogram, it will be connected like this. So, it will be connected like this, because the space in between this value, if between 1 and 2 there is some value, let me say this value 1.5 here, it can mean something. 1.5 centimeters means something, 1.5 number of feet does not mean anything. So, this is, I think I am able to explain it, what is the difference between discrete and continuous data. And we have to deal with both the kinds of data. Sometimes the data is, sometimes the number of defects, like when we will discuss about the quality control, we will also discuss about number of defects and maybe proportions of defects sometimes. So, discrete data is also there that we have to deal with. Okay. Also, one thing more, like I talk about the normal distribution. Okay, I will talk about the normal distribution, other distributions in the next lecture. So, next is the probability. Probability is the mathematical theory that is intended to describe a chance, randomness or random variation. Okay. Probability, probability is the chance of occurrence. The chance of occurrence, if you toss a coin, the probability of getting a head is 0.5, the probability of getting a tail is 0.5. Okay, if you toss a dice, the probability of getting any number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 is 1 by 6. If you toss 2, 3 dice, we can have certain permutation combinations, we know that, okay, this is a general probability, probability for A, probability for B, this is P A and B, this is P union B, the sets are there. So, I will talk a little about probability here. Theory of probability provides a language and a set of concepts and results directly relevant to describing the variation and less than perfect predictability of the real world measurements. So, what will deal with in statistics is the probability. The distributions that we will have would be the frequency distributions, which will be based upon the probability density function. I will talk about the probability density function also. It is actually a language or the concepts or the results which are used to put our data in an organized or in a structured form. As I said, the data is just unstructured when it is just data. To make this data an information, it has to be put in a structured form. So, one of the way is the probability density function. So, for that probability is just a language for that. Okay. So, it is actually, this is very important, it is less than perfect predictability of the real world measurements. The real world measurements we are only talking about, I will talk about the confidence intervals like I just talked before. Confidence intervals would be 95%, 90%, 99%. Real world measurements are actually they are realistic, and when we simulate, actually we are kind of simulating when we are talking about in statistics. What we are doing, we are trying to imitate the real world problem, and our results would not be perfect, it would be less than perfect as said here. It will be less than perfect. Predictability, predict, pre means before, prediction. Prediction means sometimes forecasting, sometimes we just look at the sample, apply our statistical tools and look at whether the sample behaves like the whole population or not. So, in that case probability would work. So, the subjects of probability and statistics both work together. There are certain sections in statistics, I will work about the probabilistic aspects in statistics. Aspects in statistics. Now, this would provide a framework for the clear thinking about how sources of measurement variation and data collection structures combine to produce an observable variation. So, we have an observable variation which is actually drawn from the probabilistical aspects in statistics. These are measurement variation is there, and data collection structures are there. So, these both lead to the observable variation through the probabilistic aspects in statistics. Okay. So, I can even talk it in this way that the observable variation can be decomposed to quantify the important sources of measurement error. Measurement error, various sources here. Okay. Sources of measurement. Now, probability is used in measurement in various forms. The use of a few methods, maybe a few applicability of the probability might be: number one, we can say the use of probability is to describe the empirical variation or uncertainty. Actually, we use the machinery of the probability theory. We use the concept of probability theory to describe various kinds of variation and uncertainty in both measurement and collection of data in both these aspects. Then we can divide the measurement into two parts: high level and low level of modeling. Low level of modeling. And high level of modeling. Okay, the low level is the modeling is computed. The computed data is the computed measurements actually. This is probability. Next, I'll just like to take a small break here, and in the next lecture, I'll discuss about the frequency distributions, and we'll talk about the probability density function. What is that? And we'll try to plot a probability density function, and we'll talk about the probability distributions, various probability distributions which can be used to work on our data that we have collected through measurements. So let us meet in the next lecture. Thank you.